Hello, I'm going to show you how I'm going to create multiple environments for my software for development. Like each person could have their own, or a team could have their own. But first I got to explain how my app works. So let's see, I've got this Kubernetes cluster. It's got two nodes, the master and a worker. It's got an ingress controller, which is basically a load balancer and a way to get your traffic into your pods inside the cluster. I've got a dev3 namespace, which is basically my current single environment. And inside I've got my app, which depends on Redis and MongoDB. MongoDB is outside the cluster. It's on my Windows box upstairs. And then I've got, so these two rectangles are actually pods running a single container each. And then these triangles are services. Kubernetes, in Kubernetes you have services that get a DNS name like TriggerCMD or MongoDB or Redis. So my app refers to Redis and MongoDB, and it can find those services. And those services effectively are load balancers. So if I have a lot of TriggerCMD apps, whatever's in my namespace could refer to TriggerCMD, and it would load balance between all of them. Same with Redis. You get the idea. So then over here we got these ovals and this diamond. This diamond is an ingress, which is just a configuration. It's not really running anything. And the ingress controller picks up that configuration and consumes it and sets up basically an Nginx config for it. But there are other types of ingresses besides Nginx. Like AWS has their own load balancer type ingress controller. Let's see here. So yeah, then you have a reg secret to access the container registry. I'm using an AWS container registry. And then this TLS secret is part of the ingress configuration. So this goes inside this, and then this consumes it. So let's see. Oh, and by the way, I already told you I got two nodes. And there's my PC right there, where I can run my browser and that kubectl command, which I'll show you right now. I'll show you I got one namespace that's not default. These come with the system, including default. Let's see. So anyway, get pods namespace equals dev3. And by the way, everything's got an abbreviation like NS for namespace. Oh, I actually scaled up this deployment. Come to think of it, I gotta explain something. This is really a deployment, okay? And you can have, an integer of like 1 to more than 1 of pods within that deployment, and it'll just spin up many of them. So here I'm showing I've got multiple pods within the TriggerCMD deployment. So get deployments equals there are my two deployments, and you can see I've got, I desire 3 of them, 3 pods within that deployment. Let me show you that in the GUI too. Oh, and by the way, here's my 2 VMware VMs running my Kubernetes cluster. There's the master and the worker. Where's my, here it is. What was I going to show you? Here's my secrets. Here are my services. Oh, this is a defunct namespace, dev2. Gotta switch to dev3. I'd already deleted that one. So here are my services. I got TriggerCMD, Redis, and MongoDB. TriggerCMD is a regular default service of type cluster IP, which means the cluster has access to it, but nothing outside the cluster. Notice these are the pods behind that service, because a service is effectively a load balancer, and it gives it, when you create a service, you get a load balancer and you get a DNS name to point at, called trigger CMD in this case. And anything in this namespace can refer to that name, trigger CMD, and it'll get that service, rather than, you know, if I had another, if I had dev 10 and something inside it referred to trigger CMD, it would get dev 10's trigger CMD. Anyway, all right. Then there's this other type of service called an external name service, and that's what I made this service, because it needs to refer to this external system. Normally you'd use a DNS name, but I just hard-coded an IP there of my workstation upstairs. All right, and then you got an ingress. This, you can see, I mean, everything can be referred to as, never mind. This is the JSON, but I can show you to the YAML equivalent. So here's the ingress YAML. You basically give it a port and a service name, the name that your browser is going to refer to, and then a secret for the cert and key. And it's a type of it's an ingress. Let's see, of type Nginx, so that if you have ingress in Nginx or multiple Nginx ingresses, they'll find your ingresses of that type and just consume them and set those ingresses up on themselves. Anyway, back to, so then there's pods. So I've got 3 trigger CMD pods, and then I've got deployments, and I can scale this down to 1 again, and it'll delete a couple of them. Okay, see, it's working on it. That's what that means. Yeah, see, this one's getting terminated. You can do the same thing at the command line. Let's see, but I won't right now. Oh, I do want to show you this deployment. Edit deployment trigger CMD. Isn't that cool? Because I'm on Windows, it brings it up in Notepad. If I was on Linux, it would bring it up in VI. I wanted to change, I think this is it, replicas to 2, and save. So I just edited that, and now it's creating a second trigger CMD container, or pod, I mean. So, and I can actually access this. I just refreshed, and I'm actually accessing my my pods, trigger CMD app pods, through the ingress controller, and then through the ingress controller, and then through the, what's this thing called, service, and then to the actual one of the pods in the deployment. And then, of course, it refers to this Redis service, which refers back to this Redis pod, and it also refers to this database via this MongoDB service. So let's see here. So I want to show you this. This is really cool. I want another one. So I do run my little script dev 5. So what it's doing is, I'll show you the script. it took one parameter, dev5, and set an environment variable to be used later. Console template basically takes this template file and uses that environment variable, which I'll show you in a minute, to generate this YAML file. So here's the template, and you can see it refers to this environment variable to basically append dev5 onto this name trigger CMD, because this is the this Ingress controller, and you've got to give it a unique name to refer to in your browser. So like this one's dev3, but I could do dev5. Probably not actually now because these take a while. Weren't fast this time. So I can even log in now to my other instance of my app. And let's see, back to, we go to, notice you don't, oh you do. I was going to say, notice you don't see namespace, the new namespace yet, but usually have to refresh to see it. I only have one pod because that's what I defaulted my deployment to. Replicas 1. Let's see, what all do I have here? I got a Mongo service, which again, it just refers to the external IP. The Redis deployment, just one pod of Redis. Service is, let's see, what is it? Redis service just refers to that Redis deployment. And then I've got the deployment for the app. It downloads from the container registry if it's not already downloaded. And then here's the ingress, which I explained a minute ago. And there's the template for that ingress, that console template used to generate the YAML file. And then we've got this service, for the app. And what else? So you don't have to, yeah, never mind, I'll get to that. So what else does it do? It creates the namespace, generates the cert and key for the ingress controller, or ingress, and then it generates a secret that contains that cert and key. It creates the secret for the, what's it called, the AWS container registry, which that just uses this environment variable. I had already put it in the environment. Then it creates everything in this folder. This -f means file, and you can refer to a file or a folder. And then you always have to specify the namespace, otherwise, or actually you can let's see, kubectl, what is it, config. Anyway, you can tweak your context to always refer to a specific namespace, but otherwise I'm always referring to that namespace. So I create all my stuff, and then I run this to see what all my stuff is, and then here, I'll show you that real quick. If I just do get all, it gets all from the default namespace, which all I've got is in there is the ingress controller. But if I do namespace or -n, dev5, those are all that's all my stuff in the dev5 namespace, or 3. I've got a couple more, or a couple in that one, and only one in dev5. So what else? That's all this does. And then I've got a delete env, which basically just deletes everything in this folder. Deletes the reg secret, because I created that not with a YAML file, but with the command line. Right here. Yeah, and then it deletes the namespace. Which I'll show you. Delete dev 3. So now I can't go to dev 3 anymore. So default backend, basically what that is I'm hitting the Nginx container that you go to, that the ingress controller sends you to if there is no, match for this URL. Which I can show you that quickly. Here's my hold on. Yeah, okay. Here's my ingress controller. And I can do, there's a couple ways to get a shell on it. One is via the GUI. I don't mean on any pod. One is via the GUI. You can just click what is it? What did I click? Exec. So I just wanted to show you that this is an Nginx box. Nginx cat. I guess escape doesn't work. Cat. And I'll no longer find my dev 3 in there, but I will find dev 5 namespace and its what is it? Ingress configuration. And then in here too, there's for your default backend, it'll send the traffic to this pod, this default backend pod, which is what we saw here, the output from that pod. I think that's all I wanted to show, so I'll end it right here.